What is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back here with some more Oblivion remastered. And the Elder Scrolls franchise needs an introduction. With its massive world, constant things to do, never fully completing everything because of how massive the world is, there's a lot of quest lines, a lot of things you can join and do. But of all the quest lines that I've played in all the Elder Scrolls games, I think I can unanimously say the one that I think is overall the best has to be meeting the Enduring Fan. No, obviously not. No one would say that. But is the Dark Brotherhood questline from Oblivion. But what makes this whole questline so great? Honestly, I feel like this starts right from the beginning. Because unlike most questlines, in terms of like you have to go to a certain place or hear certain information, if you don't know how to do it, it's quite a feat to how you encounter it. So basically, you'll be exploring the world, and you might stumble upon some random NPC, and you might accidentally kill him. Now, maybe this isn't so much of an accident, but you kill him, and as soon as you kill him, you notice these words in the top left-hand corner of your screen. Your killing has been observed by forces unknown. And that's it. Nothing else happens. And you just sit there and wonder, okay, what then? Like, what is something going to get me? Is something going to attack me? No, nothing. The game tells you absolutely nothing. You're just supposed to sit there and ponder what happens next. And I think that's kind of the beauty of it, the ambiguity of it, is it just kind of happens and you're just left pondering what's going to happen now, what's going to go on for the next thing. And so you just continue to play the game as if nothing else happens. And more than likely, if you don't know what to do next, you just kind of keep going on and on and on until you eventually have to go to sleep. And that's the next step to this whole Dark Brotherhood questline. Because eventually you will get to a point where maybe you'll level up or you got to rest in an inn or whatever the case may be. But you eventually go to sleep. And that's where the magic really happens. You go find yourself an inn, and maybe you're tired, you need to re-heal yourself. You go to bed for a certain amount of time, and when you wake up, oh boy, do you get a thing. The air grows chill, and a shadow approaches, and voila! Yeah. This is definitely who I want to see when I wake up first thing in the night or morning or whenever. You basically have this guy looking like he's the next coming of a Sith apprentice, or a Sith Lord in this case. And basically, you're spooked and you ask who he is, and basically revealing himself to be a member of the Dark Brotherhood. So, this is how you encounter him for the first time. I like the whole setup of it. How it doesn't hold your hand, doesn't tell you. If you don't know, it's quite a magic. If you obviously know, the magic's kind of gone. But doing it for the first time, it's quite a feat. But basically, he announces to you that he knows that you're a killer because he watched you kill that one person, and that he would like to see if you would eventually like to join his group. But in order to do that, you're going to have to be willing to kill a person he has specified, and if you do that, you'll be able to join the family and please the Night Mother. So eventually you're given a choice, and obviously you're going to choose yes because you want to see where this whole questline goes, but he gives you your next victim. What's really fun about a lot of these missions that you take for the Dark Brotherhood is the freedom you have with them. Now, you can be very up close to point, just basically kill them right now, or you can have a little fun with it. You can have a little freedom with it. And I think that's where the Dark Brotherhood missions really shine, is that there is no one way to skin a cat. You can announce yourself to them. You can maybe get someone else, cast a spell on them, have them kill the person, or maybe they cause a whole ruckus, or you can do so many things, and you'll see that a lot with these quest lines of the Dark Brotherhood because there's so much freedom in terms of, as long as a person dies, that's it. They don't care how it gets done. But eventually, you do put down poor Rufio, and he is dead. Go to sleep again, and you see Chance back, and he basically lets you know that you have joined the Dark Brotherhood and where to find them in all of Tamriel. And you get a whole new base that you can explore. And it gives that cool feeling that you kind of joined something that you probably shouldn't have, but the whole secrecy and ambiguity of it and just the whole concept of being in a Dark Brotherhood, it's just such a cool feeling to pass up. So he gives you a seal of approval. Once you get to the Dark Brotherhood's base, you get to meet a lot of new characters and get to see the whole base, the infrastructure, and get a kind of sense of the people you're going to be working alongside of, the whole secrecy of it. And it's a cool area. By far of all the factions you can join in Oblivion, this is definitely easily the coolest one. Just the whole dungeon-like atmosphere, the darkness, dreading, some cool individuals you might see and meet. There's a lot of things that just make you go, yeah, you feel like you're the coolest kid on the block. And that's the kind of the feeling I have with the Dark Brotherhood. There's so many unique races, people there being assassins. You get your first quest from this vampire named Vicente, and he basically lets you know of the whole thing with the contracts. Now, for your first contract, he lets you know that you might be able to be inclined to get a bonus. You won't be able to do the bonuses till later on, but they are cool to know because doing bonuses for certain quests gets you more money. So you might want to listen to what they have to say. They also let you in on if you talk to some of the other people for the contract that work here. They'll give you some insight on how you can do this easier or based on their own preferences. I mean, for all the things, take this one orc guy who definitely has a lot of interesting tales to tell about his whole past contracts.
Stealth, welcome. Welcome to the family. So, your first contract. No chance for a bonus, huh? And the great thing about killing a target up close and personal is you can talk to him before you do it. You know, say something scary. For example, this one time I had a contract to kill a little Nord girl at her birthday party. She asked me if I was the jester. So I said to her, no, I'm a messenger of death. You should have seen the look on her face. Anyway, she won't be seeing age 6.
But getting back to what I said, this is basically the first, I guess, official contract you do with the Dark Brotherhood, but you have a lot of freedom. A lot of things you could do. I'd go right on that boat and just fight everyone to the death if I wanted to, or I could be secretive about it and hide in the crates. You know, you have so much freedom, and I could either just attack this guy right now or have a conversation with him. You can do so many things in these missions, and I think that's where they really shine. Not just with the whole main storyline, but just the whole freedom of basically it's limited to your vision, I guess, as an assassin, how you want to pull it off. You want to be up close and personal, or do you want to do it from afar, or do you want to get other people to do your dirty work, or do you want to go balls to the wall crazy like you're some bloodthirsty warrior? You have so many options you can do. But nonetheless, you eventually kill the captain of your first official contract, and you get the hell out of Dodge, and you basically have completed your first contract, and you basically, it's a whole series of you completing a contract, going back and getting your next contract. Once you go back to, what the hell? Okay, dude, what happened to your hair? I mean, I guess he wanted to do his Lex Luthor cosplay in time for the Superman movie, I don't know, but man, he just like, it was only like a day later, but I guess he didn't like the hair anymore, but hey man, you do you. I respect it nonetheless. But, you know, he basically gives you his next contract where you have to stage an accident. And this one actually has a little funny moment that you'll see later on in this video for me personally because I forgot all about it. But basically, you have to get inside this house, get behind a little crawl space in the top part, and let this mount fall on top of a guy's head at a certain time. But you gotta beware because he does have a bodyguard. But if you get the bodyguard killed, or you kill the bodyguard, you forfeit the bonus. So I basically am like, you know, I gotta be sneaky about it. And Gromm is the bodyguard, who, as I said, he'll have a little funny moment later on in this video. But you sneak in a crawl space, and it wasn't the right time, so like any normal person, I just basically hid in their crawl space in their own house for a good portion of time, you know, however time you need to get between a specific time. And once it was time to release the fast things, I did, and I killed the guy. So obviously, no problem there, but I had to, I guess, check the guy, check the body, see if he had anything on him. Obviously, it tells you accidents happen, which they do. You know, accidents happen, so I can't be blamed for this. It was just accidentally he happened to be in the right place, right time when I dropped the thing. But I go down there, and his servant is not very happy. And I wanted to check the guy, but actually sat on his corpse, and yeah, that's not very nice at all. But I check him out, and he didn't really have too much. Yeah, he had some gold, but I took his key because, yeah, you might want to come back here. It's fun to note that if you do leave the house and Gromm is attacking you, be careful because the guards will converge on him and kill him. So you don't want that if you don't want to forfeit the bonus. So you might have to be a little bit more secretive. Or what I did personally, I just went back and got him kind of in a loop where he chased me in the basement. But nonetheless, I got out there. And what... All right, what is going on here? You had hair, then you went bald, then you had your hair again. Like, I mean, I'm actually impressed. Just you're able to grow it so fast, lose it so fast, and grow it so back again. So that's actually quite impressive. He gives you an enchanted blade called the Suffer Thorn, which is very nice to do. But as I said, the more you complete these things, you also get advancement, and you get your advancement here into Slayer. Am I going to be working alongside the Doom guy? I mean, Dark Ages did just come out, but. Nonetheless, he gives you his next quest where you, or I guess contract, where you have to take out the Dark Elf, Valandreth, who, if you remember, he is the guy that insulted you when you first played the game. That was talking all this crap about you, how you're going to die in a cell. Well, he was right about dying in a cell. He just wasn't right or correct about the person who was ultimately going to die in a cell. So this is one that I actually... am really, really eager to do because I can't wait to permanently shut him up for good. After I break in, I like the whole notion that, oh, you know, he remembers you were the one who was supposed to be dead in a cell across from you, and you were there with the Emperor, and he tries to be your friend, like, hey, let's just break out of here. Like, did you forget all the things you said about me, insulted me? Oh, yeah, sure, I'm going to come and help you, but I do get one last thing on him before I do kill him. I do like how I say, the Night Mother says goodbye, and he just freaks out, and guards going to help him. I'm sorry, guards ain't going to do nothing, because trust me, they want you dead just as much as I want you dead, and, you know, simple enough, kill them straight up. None of the guards see me. I didn't kill any of the guards, so I get my bonus there, and I get a little satisfaction and payback in return on Valandreth, because, hey, he started it. And by the way, going back to the Brotherhood, I like hearing some of their conversations. I mean, it's just so wholesome to hear the people I'm working with. These is such a cool and awesome family. I can't wait to interact with them more. I mean, we're definitely going to be a loving, bonding family. But after I get back to this guy, I passed this Khajiit, who I didn't talk to earlier, and he is kind of the exact opposite. He's kind of an a-hole. I mean, right from the beginning. I mean, come on, man, really? I'll tell you what, if I get a chance to kill you, I'm definitely gonna savor that, because, I mean, I don't know what I did to you. I joined the family. I mean, you're gonna have new members, so why is he being such an ass? I don't know, but just remember that, Khajiit. You're on the hit list. You're gonna be the first one to go, as if I get a chance to do it. But I go back to Vicente, and he basically commends me for what I do and gives me another object that can definitely help. The Scales of Pitless Justice, which can help you out, give you some attributes as long as you have it equipped. So, and it's also cool as you do more missions, you get more equipment, some abilities, spells, boosting your stats. But he also calls me to do my next assassination, or sort of assassination, I guess fake assassination, where I basically have to stage an assassination, but in a unique way, where I have a knife that will seemingly kill the person, but he won't technically be dead as long as I give him the potion and serum about 24 hours later. So a little bit unique and different. By the way, when I was doing this mission of breaking into the guy's house, talking to him, I had a random Argonian come up to me and just force a conversation, and it doesn't really go anywhere, but yeah. That wasn't disturbing and creepy enough, but yeah, just go up to a random person who's breaking a house and asking questions like that. But nonetheless, I get into the man's house, and he tells me that he's inspecting me and that I have to put on a show, because the key is I have to make it look like I killed him, but I can't kill the enforcers that's been sent to kill this guy, because if I do, then they'll send probably another one. So I had to make sure that hides his heart. I just can't get over that name. Sees that I kill this man, and I can't let Hides his heart die either, so he can report back to his people that, you know, this man is dead. So Hides his heart is an Argonian, and he's in a pretty cool arm. Not what I would expect Hides his heart to look like, but nonetheless, I basically have to hit him with a knife and get the hell out of Dodge. After I leave town and wait for 24 hours, I do revive Francois, and I get him to where he needs to go so he can get out of town and make sure that no one ever finds him again. And that is the end of this quest line. But not before he forgets to tell me that once I revive him, I have to kill a bunch of his family ancestry ghosts that are attacked me in his tomb. But after I get back here, I get the title of Eliminator, which is my next installment of a title, and that I am everything the Dark Brotherhood stands for. And I also get a key, so I don't have to go through the abandoned house. I can go right through the well to get there even quicker, so I don't go through so many doors, so that's cool. I also get the privilege of having the possibility to be turned into a vampire by him, but I turn it down just because I didn't want to deal with that whole hoopla at the moment. But it is there as an option in case you do want it. Oh, look at the rest of the Brotherhood, just bonding, just so wholesome. I love these guys. I mean, they're just so cool to hang around. I can't wait to do more and more missions with this cast. I mean, I really hope nothing happens to them. But yeah, now I take orders from Ocheva, and basically my target is now a high elf named Valian. Now, Valian is a very unique individual, definitely. Because I'll show you me just going up in front and killing them, but I do want to show you some more sides of it. It goes to that whole thing I was talking earlier about freedom, because you can go right up to the people and kill them, make it easy as hell, or you could maybe explore more options with it, learn more about them. Because when you learn more about them, sometimes you maybe learn too much than you wanted to, because Valian is definitely an interesting individual. Because when I first encountered him, he was already in bed with his lady friend, and yeah. So I go to talk to him, and he's very nervous, but understandably so. It doesn't make him a sketchy individual from here. I mean, I'd be kind of disturbed, too, if I had some random person from the Dark Brotherhood watching me with my loved one in bed, and yeah, but that doesn't make him necessarily a crazy guy yet. But yeah, I could easily just wait till he falls asleep and kill him and be done with this whole thing. But I wanted to explore this one a little bit more because, yeah, Valian isn't your normal, everyday person. As you'll see here, I can check see if he's got anything good on him before I obviously take him out. But I take him out of bed, and that doesn't wake the other person in bed. But I decided to follow him around a bit, and yeah, he's definitely on something. We're about to find it out, what he is on and what he is troubled by, and that is, without a doubt, the Skooma. Yes, the good old Skooma. Please bring me more Skooma. Sorry about that. But yeah, the Skooma, he is a Skooma addict. And if you're unfamiliar what a Skooma addict is, well, you know what? I'm going to let the man himself explain to you what happens when you're on Skooma. So I let Valian do my work for me.
Skooma? Oh, yeah. You want to be my friend? I'll tell you what. Skooma's the only thing I want. You get me some. Now listen up. Skooma. You know what that is? Get me some Skooma and we'll be good friends. Okay? Do you have any Skooma now? 'Cause I can be your friend right now. Oh, okay. Well, you get me some Skooma, and then we'll be good friends. Okay? Okay? Nordinor in Bravil. He sells it late at night.
So yeah, Valian is he's gone. As I like to say, those fries have left that Happy Meal a long time ago. So instead, I decided to confront him in the house he's going towards, which is not his house, by the way. But yeah, he's obviously nervous, and I basically confront him on what he's doing and all. And eventually, we get into a little scuffle and a fight because he obviously has way too much energy and no idea what to do with it. But what's interesting to know that if you did, follow him up, is you realize that Valian is not so innocent. It's not just that he's a Skooma addict. I mean, this man is actually willing to actually murder and stuff. So after I fight him and kill him, it's interesting to know that once you check him and kill him, you can go into the basement of this house and you realize that the actual owner's house is actually lying dead on the floor. So yeah, Valian is maybe an example of what happens when you have an addiction on the Skooma, because the Skooma really let you go off into La La Land. After I return to base, I basically get my next mission, which is basically I have to change out potions for a warlord. Basically sneak into a castle and basically swap out his medication, where basically I'm going to swap out the medicine for the poison. And this one is kind of really straightforward. It makes it seem like it's really epic, but it's pretty easy to sneak in. Other than the very beginning, as long as you don't go too far, you might see that first guard is sitting there, but you just go inside the gate. But basically sneak into the cabinet and swap out his medicine with the poison. But what I find funny is after I do the whole swap out of the thing, I kind of feel a little bit bad because once again, it's kind of this game being great in its own way of having a story within a story. As I'm walking out, I hear the people talking about how, oh, they're so wondering if this whole medication going to work and how they're all rah-rah going to get him up and they're going to be strong again. And the guy's going to personally card the medical cabinet, which is like, yeah, too bad you weren't doing that a few minutes ago. But nonetheless, it's just having these little intricate stories within the main story that makes this whole thing, this whole experience, and this whole Dark Brotherhood mission so fun. So after I return, I basically have a very, very interesting quest. This one is definitely unique because there is multiple ways you can do this. But basically, I have to go into a house. 5 other people are looking for this gold in a house, and the house will not let them out until someone finds the gold. I'm going to be the 6th member. But the key here is that there is no gold. It's just basically a whole setup where I'm going to individually kill everyone. But to get my bonus, I basically cannot let anyone know that I'm killing him. If I'm alerted at all, I forfeit the bonus. Now, this whole quest line, I'm going to do it very basically, but it is interesting to know that you can do this so many ways. You have so much fun with it. And as you go in there, you meet this deranged-looking woman who kind of creeps me out in a way, and she's all high and mighty, acting, oh, I'm so happy, we can work together, we can talk, we can be friends, and I kind of say a line to her, which is a true line, but she kind of thinks it's more of a joke, which is, more on her than that. But I basically admit that, hey, I'm Assassin, I'm here to kill you all, and she just kind of laughs it up, which is kind of funny and sad in a way. But what's crazy about this whole thing is that you have these 5 people here. You have a Nord, and you have a Red Guard, and they have a very, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it's kind of what I said earlier, a story within a story. They have a very fascinating conversation with each other where they're kind of just both insulting each other. But hearing it kind of makes me wish I kind of could learn more about their stories if they have interesting stories. Because unfortunately, their story has to end in my playthrough. But here, I'll let you listen to it yourself.
So, Nord, if you find the gold, what will you spend it on? Wait, let me guess. A sleazy whore and a nice new battle axe, am I right?
I'm gonna open a tavern. Not that I'd welcome your patronage. No pigs allowed inside, you see. You Legion types tend to stink up a place.
A tavern? Oh, I should have known. Leave it to a barbarian to spend an entire chest full of gold on beer and mead. How pathetic.
You can call me a barbarian. It's true, and I'm proud of the fact. But you call me pathetic again, and I'm going to show you just how barbaric I am.
With every word you speak, you're just proving me right, Nord. Your kind has contributed nothing to our empire, and never will.
My kind, as you like to call us, are plenty happy serving our own needs, while your useless empire crumbles down around you.
Your words border on treason, Nord, and I will not tolerate them. You will respect the empire. You will respect the memory of our dear emperor.
Bah! Don't get your linens in a bunch. You have no authority in this house or anywhere else. You're not even in the Legion anymore.
Nevertheless, I still serve the Empire in my heart, and will not abide such talk. Walk away from me now, barbarian, or you'll regret your arrogance.
I was done with you anyway. I can only talk to an ex-Legion pig for so long before my ears start bleeding. Besides, I need a drink.
But yeah, they went on, and I was just invested. I wanted to hear more. I wonder where these guys come from under those stories. But nonetheless, I eventually decided, hey, you know what? It's time to take out these people. You have these weird moments here where I kill that guy where those 2 are sleeping, the other 2 are downstairs at the moment. And they see the dead body, obviously, and they decide, you know what? I'm just going to go back to bed, because why not? So then I kill this person. knock her out of bed, and the other person kind of wakes up and is like, yeah, there's that body. Well, whatever, I'm just going to go back to bed. And I said, okay, that's fine with me. Make my job easier as hell. But as I said, you can do this so many ways. I'm just more straightforward with it. But and the red guard comes up here and he sees the dead bodies. He just walks by them, no big deal. But hey, you know what? There's a charm to it. There's like that Oblivion charm to all these insane magical moments, if you want to call them. And after I eliminate the last person, no one knew I was the killer, and I get my reward. So yeah, that's a mission you get way too much fun with if you really want to go that way. I get my next mission, which is basically I'm going to have to take out somebody who's been a thorn in the Dark Brotherhood side so long. And what's crazy about this whole mission is they play it up as it's going to be really hard because I have to use this bow and a certain arrow that will not go through armor. I can only hit the guy if he's not in his armor. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be kind of tough and all. But the funny part is that this whole thing is a little bit too easy for its own good. And maybe I just was there at the right place, right time. But basically, the man is living down in Leowin, and I basically fast travel. And right out of my fast travel, he's right there in public, and you cut the corner, and yeah, he's just taking a bath. He's just sitting there with his guard watching him, and I just take the arrow, and I hit him, and yeah, nothing happens. Permanent retirement indeed. And I'm thinking, is the guard going to get pissed off and run after me as I go to his body? No, the guard decides, you know what, I'm just going to turn or walk away and pretend nothing happened. So also note that to get the bonus, you have to take off his severed finger and post it in the watch of the successor of this man in his line of work. So once again, just sneak into this whole prison barracks, place the finger in the desk, and voila, you got the bonus. I actually thought that one would be a lot more difficult the way they kind of hyped it up, but no, it was kind of a little bit too easy for its own good. And after that, I get probably the mission that changes the whole Dark Brotherhood on a dime. So I get a sealed courier from Lucien, the man who I first met for this whole questline thing, and he has sealed orders that I need to follow to the T. And this whole moment really changed. It makes it very different from most quests because it kind of changes the whole mentality of everything. So eventually, they tell you this is very secretive and only your eyes should see it. So when you open up the quest, you get the whole thing that Lucien wants you to meet him a little bit north of where you are right now in some castle, fort. And basically, you are not to tell anyone. No one is supposed to know about the secrecy of what's written here, and that you're supposed to go alone and also get by some of his traps and enemies that basically are inside the whole fort. So you get that feel, oh man, this must be really serious. I can't wait to do it. Not to mention meet Lucien, because I haven't seen him in a while. So once you go up to him, he talks to you and basically praises you for your accomplishments in the Dark Brotherhood that he's been watching from afar. But then you get the moment that really changes everything on a dime. And that is the fact that you have to basically do something that's going to test your loyalty. And that you have to eliminate every single member in the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary. Because there is a traitor. And this traitor has been there for a long time. You were absolved of this because you came in after the fact. But basically, a traitor has infiltrated the Dark Brotherhood. And all the people that you've been working alongside, you have to eliminate it. You will have to basically go against the 5 tenets. You know, one of them saying you won't murder a Dark Brotherhood, but is for the greater good, so you will be absolved of this. And it's just like, damn. Oh, okay. That really went left south for the winter. All these people have been working alongside, forming bonds of thinking they're cool as crap. I have to basically go murder them and basically do this whole purification and eliminate them and not to return until I have. And it's definitely a moment that makes you go, damn, this thing really got deep. This thing really got dark really quick. But it makes the Dark Brotherhood whole questline so memorable because no other questline really even remotely comes close to this thing. So basically, you basically got to kill everyone in the sanctuary. So you remember that Khajiit that was being asked to me earlier? I talked to him right before I was about to off him, and he kind of says, hey, I've been thinking, and I'm sorry for the way I treated you in the past, and he wanted to make amends for things. And I was like, you know, yeah, that's real sweet. That's real nice. You know, I guess, you know, better than nothing, being an ass forever. But unfortunately, if you do recall, I said that if I get a moment to kill you, I was going to kill you. And since you're here right in front of me, I'm sorry, but I guess it is nice to know you did change your ways in the end before you inevitably die. So yeah, I just go in here. I wasn't even going to be creative about it. I decided to just go straight balls of wall and kill everybody. So check to see if he has. There's a lot of keys you can pick up and other things. But yeah, they're all going to have to die. Unfortunately, I had to kill the vampire because I did like him a lot. And it also let you know that since I killed him, I'd had to find turning into a vampire another way and means to get the dark gift. So it is important to know. But this is the weird part. Is I leave here, as I'm leaving this door.
So much about you. Welcome to
Yeah, Marie. I appreciate the hustle. I like you a lot, but unfortunately, it's for the Night Mother. It's for the Night Mother, and yeah, she's really committed to her role. I'm sorry. I wish there was a way we could have spared you, but fortunately, we couldn't. Otama had a little bit of difficulty attacking because apparently his chair was doing everything to defend her, and she just apparently didn't care that I was swinging at her. But eventually, she does get laid out. But hey, at least I gave her a nice, comfortable chair to sit in her death. So I'm not that bad of a guy, right? Right? I mean, that's got to count for something. But unfortunately, these were the normalest moments. Because I did have one more really weird moment. As I had Telehondre, basically, I was trying to kill her, but she was above the whole sanctuary, and I was trying to kill her in the end. But when I tried to kill her in the end, it was in front of people. And then she just randomly took off her clothes when I was trying to wait her out to get outside. So I was like, well, I guess that's one way to stop me from killing you. But then she decided to put them on as fast as she took them off. And I was just like, that's actually kind of impressive if you think about it. But yeah, but at least I finally got her out. But yeah, basically I had to wait till a few of the guards got out of the way because I didn't want everyone on top of me when I did this. She even says, hey, seeing you is like a blessing from the Night Mother herself. I don't know if you'd say that now, but unfortunately she bites the dust. And that is the last member of the whole sanctuary taken down. So eventually it means that I have completed my mission, I completed the purification, and now I can return to Lucien to get my next orders. And he basically says that he's happy for you and that you will now serve the Black Hand, and you basically will serve him, which is cool because he's kind of got an aura to him. But instead of meeting him to get the quest, you now will get them in dead drops. And dead drops will basically give you your next mission, and that you will walk in the shadows as his silencer. It's also nice to know that he gives you a reward of the Shadowmere, which is a horse. Now, I do want to say this right now. I have nothing against Shadowmere. Shadowmere is cool as hell. I have nothing against horses. But I have this weird thing in games where I don't like to ride vehicles in these type of games, like horses or something like that. I just like to explore on my feet. I know it's faster to get that way, but I feel like when I'm on the horse, I feel like it's something where I'll miss everything. And Kent's of like, if I'm on my feet, I'm more likely to see things. And when you're riding fast as hell through a big map like this, there's so many things you can miss. So I just want to point that out here. But it will show Shadowmere off. But I just want to point out there's nothing against Shadowmere. Shadowmere is cool as hell because Shadowmere will even attack the enemies for you. So Shadowmere is dope as heck, especially with the red glowing eyes. But fortunately, you're not going to see Shadowmere after this part. But it is cool to have, and you can always call Shadowmere wherever you are, get her to help you and stuff like that. So just want to point that out. I'm not some horse hater or something like that. It's a me problem. It's a me problem, and I fully admit that. So we get to the dead drops, and the dead drops are in random locations, like a hollowed out rock or a stump. And they give you your orders of where you have to go to get your contract. It basically tells you who they are. I actually don't like the dead drops as much as I like talking to people, because at least you get a little bit of the story compared to just reading a few sentences from a little note. So I do not a big fan of the dead drops compared to hearing it from people. But nonetheless, you go in here and you kill the people. And as soon as you kill the person, you get your next dead drop location. And you complete this whole task over and over and over and over again. The next dead drop location basically tells me that I have to take out this family, and this mother basically reveals where all her children is, so you can hunt them down and take rid of him. So basically this one gives you about 4 or 5 kills you have to do. But what's weird about this is, like, I kind of felt bad about this because they didn't seem inherently evil, especially this poor mom's just happy thinking I'm giving the kids gifts, which I guess technically I am, just not the gift she wants. But the weird part is that I wait for her to go to bed, and she has a pet dog named Jake, or Pet Wolf, whatever you want to call him. And I'm thinking, okay, if I kill this person, how is Jake going to react? Man's best friend. Yeah, Jake didn't really seem to care. I'm not going to kill Jake because, I do like animals. Not unless they are trying to attack and kill me, but I was provoked here, so yeah, I'll just let Jake kind of wander around, but yeah, Jake didn't really care that much, unfortunately. So eventually I go around hunting the rest of the Draconis family and killing them, and not too many crazy moments happen to him. You have the one guy in the capital, you take care of him. Then you have the crazy woman living amongst the animals and stuff. Man, I will kill these animals if they are attacking me. She has like bears and rats and mountain lions, everything out here. Even timber wolves. And then we have the world's best guard doing the greatest Metal Gear Solid impersonation, basically letting me walk right by him, kill the keeper here, and then just walk out. I mean, he'd be perfect for Metal Gear Solid, very easy mode, definitely. And then the last person where I just kill kind of in broad nightlight, I guess, and no one's around, I take care of them. And that's the end of the Draconis family. So not too much going on there, and I get the next location for my next victim and dead drop. And I get a little jump scare here because as I'm reading this, it tells me, hey, I need to find this guy who's basically paid off the guards, which is weird if he's expecting trouble, but he's in the streets. But pay off the guards, and he's a contract. It's kind of weird for a little bit, but it's a jump scare because as soon as I turn out, I get jumped by this guy out of nowhere. Tell me how many times that's happened to you in your playthrough. You just be doing something, and a random guard just out of nowhere just comes out of nowhere and just scares the shit out of you. But yeah, I pay my fine, and after I pay my fine to get out of jail, what do? I obviously go back to a life of crime because obviously what would a normal person do? So I break into the guy's house, and it took me a while to find this spot. If you are a little careful here because I'm just like, man, I could not find the thing. There's a door here, but I couldn't find it. But yeah, it's actually underneath all these little cloths. But you go to the secret training room, and here you find a Khajiit who's definitely been training here, and he basically tells you to leave or we're gonna have a problem. But unfortunately, he is part of the problem, and I'm the solution. But it's interesting to note that when I say I'm invited by Syphilis, he basically isn't like scared. He's kind of outraged, and it's like, hey, I'll take you out myself, assassin, which is kind of a hint as to what's going on in case you didn't know. If you don't know, you don't know, but if you know, you do know. But you take him out. Kind of felt bad for him there, but he's dead, and I get the location for my next dead drop. But yeah, a little bit of a hint of what's to come. As I said, it's a big moment because when it happens, it happens. But nonetheless, I move on. I get my next thing where I have to take out this enraged Argonian, which they just attacked me on sight, so there was nothing to talk about there. But they're dead. And I move on to get my next dead drop, which is right outside the ruins of a fort. And while I'm trying to go in here to get the person, I'm all of a sudden attacked by Gromm. I mentioned Gromm earlier. There was a funny moment. I forgot all about him. He's still alive, but every time you're around him, he's just going to attack you on sight. So I basically just went outside and had all the guards do their work and take them out. Because that's one thing about the guards, man. When they're united in cause, everyone pulls out a bow and sword and comes converging. And they take out Gromm for me, so they kind of did my dirty work for me and don't get in trouble. And it's cool because once he's taken out, you can just loot his body, and someone's crying about starving, please help. So what better way to show how good of a person I am is take the money of a guy just set up to get killed, give a beggar a coin. I mean, I'm obviously a good person. I mean, there's nothing bad about that. So now let's get back in his house so I can murder this poor unsuspecting folk. And as I move in here, I just like this whole pattern this guy does. So I get into his guy's house, and he does this really weird maneuver, but definitely Oblivion-style maneuver, just to walk out here for no reason and then just walk back in and sit down in the chair. Yep, definitely Oblivion. So I kill him and get to the location for my next dead drop and victim. And basically, you repeat this process, and it's kind of getting routine. But I get to the next one where I got to take down a person on top of a mountain. But at least we get a little bit of a better situation here. So this guy attacks me on sight, and I take him down. But at least his animal fights to the death with him. At least it wasn't like Jake, who just basically didn't do anything. Red Maul at least attacked, but unfortunately, because Red Maul attacked, Red Maul has to die. So I take them down, and I get my next location and dead drop. And this one's weird because it has you go in a temple, get past a locked gate underneath water to get the dead tribe in a chest. Really a lot of gymnastics to get to this one. I mean, like they really did. But what's interesting to note is, once again, when you read this one, it tells you that the person is also paid off, bribed the guard to look the other way, which is really weird considering this is the person you need to take out, and they recommend a stealth approach. Hint, hint, I'm not going to do a stealth approach. I'm just going to go right up to them and take them out. But yeah, you got to meet them at a certain time by the statue. And once you take out this person, you know, you get your whole quest, and you're all happy, la la la. You're probably going to get your next dead drop location. And that's where the next big twist happens in this whole quest line. So after you take out the poor elf, you read this, you're about to loot the body, and all of a sudden Lucien Lechance comes out of nowhere and basically telling that, oh, he thought he could have stopped you, and that he thought he could have basically stopped everything you did, and that you betrayed the Dark Brotherhood. And you're just sitting there thinking, huh? What? How'd this happen? And yeah, this is definitely a big moment. Not to mention that him coming out of nowhere just kind of spooks people for the first time. But yeah, he basically comes to terms that, hey, you have no idea what he's talking about, and basically reveals that for the first few dead drops, they were legit. But the last few ones you've been doing, you've been actively eliminating the Black Hand members of the Dark Brotherhood, and that you have basically been killing the Dark Brotherhood unsuspectingly, which goes back to what I said earlier when you read some of the guardsmen bribed, especially the Khajiit, who seemed like he wasn't terrified by it, it seemed that he was appalled by your actions, so it kind of adds up together. But yeah, you've been eliminating the family. But the rest of the surviving members thinks that I'm innocent and that Lucien is the traitor and that they're hunting him. So he basically says that you need to go find a person who's been placing and switching these dead drops at the location in Anvil, and that you need to wait them out and see if this person can lead you to who the active traitor who is still alive in the Dark Brotherhood from when I did the Purification thing, because he's basically out and about. So nonetheless, Lucien says he's going to hide out in Applewatch, which is basically where I killed that mother of the whole Draconis family, because that'll definitely be another twist when you get back to there. But nonetheless, that is the plan I have to enact. Once here, I just sit around the statue, hide behind this whole thing, wait till he placed the dead drop inside a barrel, and he basically tells me that I have basically been following orders and that he didn't know, and someone paid him in a robe, and that this person is basically by the lighthouse. Eventually, going through some shenanigans, I get the location of the lighthouse. I get the key from one of the guys that lives in the lighthouse, and that it's basically happening inside the basement of the lighthouse where there's bad smells and odors, and rightfully so, because when you get in there, there's a lot of dead animals, one live animal, some dead people, and once you break in, it's just a sight to see blood everywhere, and even get a real good crazy sight when you go in here, after you kill the crazed dog, and you see a head on a table from a mother, and you also have a book that basically paints the whole picture of the traitor and what has happened. Is that the traitor basically is somebody who basically has wanted to kill the Dark Brotherhood because the Dark Brotherhood was responsible for his mother's death, and that he has been vowing and plotting this for a long, long time, and basically kind of gets this whole questline full circle of this whole plot to take them out from the beginning, and it's kind of one of those full circle of life moments, but it's also a cool, crazy moment. Also, again, kind of in the head and mind of how crazy and deranged this person really is. But what's interesting to note that once you're done reading and you read the book, there's a little cool moment you can do here. I didn't do it the first time I played it, but I only learned about it many, many years after the fact, is that you can actually take the head of the mother, which is going to come into play a little bit later on, but a little for a fun moment. But you can take the head of the mother, and we'll show you what that uses it for. But eventually, now that you know what happened, you basically want to report back to Lucien Lechance. So go back to Applewatch, and obviously we're going to report here, and this is definitely a sight to walk into. You walk in here, and yeah. Yeah, that's definitely not what was on the bingo card. Basically, the surviving members of Black Hand talk about how they have dealt with the traitor Lucien, and they have basically just completely mutilated the poor guy. And yeah, he's there in the background hanging, and that they have basically finally purged the dark traitor of the Brotherhood, and that they have finally stopped this whole thing. Even though you know differently, you know the traitor is obviously amongst of the four people that are still in here. And they talk about how they don't blame you for it and that you are now going to take Lucien's place on the Black Hand, but because they need a listener, because the listener is now dead and his replacement is also dead, they need to encounter and talk to the Night Mother. And the Night Mother is basically going to be performed by that same old lady statue we encountered earlier in this game, in this mission in Breville. So I mentioned that head earlier. What's cool is that you can actually go up to the person who actually did all this, drop the head and talk to them, and they'll be panicked and all bewildered and stuff. A little cool moment you can do here. So it's always cool to have these kinds. Of course, no one else is going to do anything because that's not how the story is going to play out. But yeah, this is basically the murder of the whole thing, the conspirator here. But nonetheless, eventually, if you meet with the Black Hand at a certain time, they'll teleport you to the old lady statue. They'll encounter some ritual, and they will let you go inside the Night Mother's tomb, where this quest ultimately is going to come here to an end and basically reveal everything towards you about this whole quest and its beginning. So eventually the statue moves, and you go into the crypt of the Night Mother. And from there, the Night Mother basically reveals that Lucien was not the traitor that he's all felt, and that obviously the traitor is right here, and that he's been plotting this for a long time, that he's going to take him out. And you basically have to take out the traitor here. And he's not too hard to take out. He basically takes out these two guys in one hit. You got to protect the Night Mother. You take care of him. And alas, the quest is done for the most part. So Belmont is taken down. He definitely wasn't Simon Belmont, that's for damn sure. But you take care of that, and you talk to the Night Mother, who basically has been watching you from the very beginning. And this is kind of a little creepy, but everything was, I guess, preordained, where everything from your encryption to your birth, even the whole conspiracy and whole betrayal of the traitor, was something that she saw, but she didn't want to intervene, thinking that that would imply weakness and that it would take a strong individual to stop that. She allowed everything to happen, which is kind of weird and creepy in a way, but nonetheless, you proved yourself and that you are definitely going to be serving as her, basically her listener now, and that's basically the title that's invoked on you. You're the listener, as well as getting your Blade of Woe to be increased even more, which is definitely a deadly weapon. So, alas, you get to the end of this whole quest, and basically you're transported back to your sanctuary, where you get your orders of what to do and how you can basically grow the faction even more. And we get to eventually the end of this quest. And as I can say before, the Dark Brotherhood quest is definitely a very interesting thing. And I think the two words I can say to actually describe what makes it the best overall is all the plot twists with it, as well as all the freedom it allows you. Because you just watch me play it. But if I had to put 1,000 people in a room to play these whole quest lines, I don't know if you'd have one that's 100% the same, because there's so many intricate and unique ways you can kill your individuals, or how you go about it and how you do things. There's so many ways you can skin a cat. And I think it's that freedom, as well as all the plot twists within the story itself and all the stories, side stories within the main story, that makes this endearing to this day, and why I think a lot of people will agree the Dark Brotherhood quest in Oblivion is one of, if not in my personal opinion, the greatest quest lines of the Elder Scrolls series. And that's no easy feat to have. But, as I always like to say, that is my opinion. I want to hear your guys' opinion. How do you feel about the Dark Brotherhood quest in Oblivion? You feel like it's one of, if not the greatest quest lines of all time in Elder Scrolls? And if it's not your personal favorite, let me know what your personal favorite is. And also, let me know if the real menace is never the Dark Brother, is this guy right here, the Adoring Fan. Because, trust me, he creeps me out more than anything. I mean, even Lucien went to get the heck out of here, because this is definitely creepy, being trapped in close quarter with him. But that is going to be it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully I can see you guys back on the next one, and hopefully this poor man can get out of here, because this has got to be limbo for him, and having that creepy little whatever you want to call it there. But that's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully I can see you guys back in the next one. Thanks, and I'll see you all later. Peace. And that's a face I don't even know a mother could love, but I'll see you all later. Peace.